All right. Yeah, excited. Championship week, Tuesday. Just it's good that we've got cold weather here this week, so we can practice in it since we're going to be playing in it. And talked a little bit. I know about it Saturday night after the game, but now having a chance to watch it, I mean, it's an exciting matchup. Got a great opponent, man. Just they don't really have a lot of weaknesses. I know they testing themselves out of the gate early. And then, man, they have just gotten better and better each week. And then, the last half of their season schedule was a lot harder than the first. And they had to go on some tough road games at Pitt and Virginia Tech. And, we played Louisville, so we know how good they are. And, they're almost a broken play, a little bit fluke, 3rd and 16 last week away from winning that one and being 10-2. So, complete football team. Starts with the quarterback on offense. And really at every level on offense, they got good. They're really well coached on the O-line. Got a big-time running back. 1,000-yard rusher, big-time tight end, and then some really talented young skill players. But I just think it starts with Cade. I remember him coming out of high school, championship-winning quarterback. He's tough. He can really spin it, big arm, and he's really making a lot of plays with his feet. And then defensively, that's kind of been the calling card there for the last decade. They're big up front, really big in the middle, which helps them on the internal run game, and then excellent pass rushers. Really good on third down. They're really good on third down. And then linebackers that can run and DBs that cover really well. So they're kind of a complete team, so it's going to be a good challenge for us.
Rhett, you talked about them being better and better each week. How would you classify your team in that? Do you feel like you're getting better and better each week?
I think so. I hope so. Yeah, and that's what good teams do. Good teams do two things, in my opinion, because all the stuff being talked about, who should be in, who should not. Good teams don't lose to teams they're supposed to beat, and they haven't, and we haven't. The games they've lost were against really good football teams. It's like, man, either team could win. And the second thing they do is they get better as the season goes on. Particularly, there's no preseason in college football. And with the transfer portal, it's a lot different than it used to be. So you look at us. Week 1 against Nevada, week 2, okay, then week 3, and then we got a bye week, and then we kind of figured out who we were. It usually takes somewhere between 2 to 4 games, and there's no preseason in college football. So, especially when you do like they do, step out and go play someone like Georgia week 1, or, we played BYU week 3. Sometimes teams can stumble early, but then credit them the way they have just done what I think we've done too, and just get better and better each week, and that builds confidence.
Kind of a unique situation where you guys, your last 3 postseason games have either been in road environments or road-like environments, going to Boston, going to Tulane, going to North Carolina. How do you kind of get the team ready for that aspect of it? Probably the best fan base you've played against.
Yeah. Obviously Clemson's got a great fan base. They travel well. I think we're going to travel well, but yeah, we're a little farther than Clemson from Charlotte. I don't know. We're used to it. We've played in great environments this year. We played at Louisville. That was a really good environment. That was 100% against us, right? So we did it last year at Tulane. So Boston College in the bowl game, it just happens. And so maybe one day we'll play in Dallas or something like that. But we don't talk too much. Just like when we go on the road, we don't make it a bigger deal than it is, and maybe that's why our guys have been successful doing it. If you're a competitor, you want there to be energy in the building. You want there to be an atmosphere in the stadium, and I would think there's definitely going to be that Saturday night. So I would think our guys will be excited, just like I think they will be to play in it.
Clemson's one of the top teams in turnover margin in the nationally. What do you kind of see from them on offense?
Yeah.
Decision making that less on the control position than
Yep.
defensively.
Yeah, I think, it starts with Cade offensively. Like I said, they don't turn the football over. He's really smart. When stuff's not there, he'll throw it away or he'll create a lot like Kevin can do for us. And then, Maffa's a really good experienced back. He's big, he's downhill, he wears on you, and he knows how to hold on to the football. So I think signs of a well-coached team there. And then on defense, they're one of the best. I think they're number 3 in the country, but one of the best at creating fumbles. They tackle the ball well. They punch it out. They rip it out. A lot like Navy has in the past when we play them. You could just tell that they're coached to not just get you on the ground, but attack the football. And I think they average getting a fumble recovery a game. That's pretty remarkable. So, it's like everything else. We got to value the football and play our game. But, at times this year we've been really good that way. We've taken the ball away and we've valued it. And a couple times we haven't. We've seen how challenging it is to win then. So, probably a big key in the game.
What kind of challenge does that present for someone like Rashard? He's obviously had a full season running back, but
Yeah.
still not maybe not easy.
I mean, the fact that we've played 10 straight Power 4 games, I think makes it like, look, they're good at that, but we've been pretty good at not fumbling it. So hopefully, who knows if something's got to give or not. I mean, if you're a running back and you're running with the football, your receiver, you're running the football, you're expecting to get tackled and them to try to rip the ball out in college football. So, yeah, we've got to be very ball conscious, but we work on that every week. That's part of our routine. We just got through doing it today, and we can't let them take it away and get good field position and grab free possessions and prevent us from scoring with it.
How much does last year's experience, this preparation, this extra week, does that maybe just kind of make it seem like just another week for the guys?
Probably helps a little. I mean, it's not the exact same team, but we do have a lot of guys returning who were a part of that and going down to Tulane last year. So, it's today was Tuesday, yesterday was Monday, and we've not treated them any differently than we have all year, and we won't the rest of the week. So routine's a big deal, and especially when it's been working for you. So I think it'll help. Maybe early in the game, just not the moment be something that is totally new for everybody and we haven't experienced. Even Kevin got to start in that game last year. So, your past experience can be a positive.
Are there any parallels to the first ACC game against Florida State, kind of that giant, not Slayer mentality, but it is Clemson, Florida State?
Yeah. Probably, kind of bookends our season in the first year. We started with Florida State, who won the league last year, went undefeated, and we're ending with Clemson, who's going for their 10th or 9th, whatever it is, 10th conference championship. And here we are just showing up on our first. So that's what we wanted. We wanted to challenge ourselves. We wanted to see where we stood. We wanted to be at this level. We wanted to play on this stage. We wanted to be playing in the championship game on national TV, ABC, playoffs being decided a week away. And, so, I mean, we're going to go play free and cut it loose, and our guys have earned the right to be there. We have ultimate respect for Clemson. But this is the stage we want to be on. And, after this game's over, no matter what happens, that's what we want to get back to in the future. And so it's a good opportunity for our program.
We've talked a lot this year, obviously, about Richard's conversion to a running back, but clearly he had the 3 straight 100-yard games, and people kind of started tuning in. And now, the last couple games, he's kind of gotten back to a little bit of catching. In fact, he had a great catch last week.
Yeah.
Talk about that importance, about how he still can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean, credit Cal. They had a good job. They were loading the box last week, and we, other than one run, we didn't spit a lot of big runs. But, really good players find other ways to impact the game. And he still had 150, I don't know what it was. He had 60-something rushing, 60-something passing, I think, and a couple touchdowns. And he's a matchup problem. He's a good player, and defensively you got to account for him. I know they're probably working on that right now, but especially when you lose matchup guys like R.J. Maryland and some of those, you need those guys to step up. But he's an all-purpose player. We haven't returned as many kickoffs this year intentionally, just because he's become such a focal part of our offense. But, he came into the season, preseason all-conference kick returner for a reason, and he's still got that. So when you take that, ability to catch the ball, to be able to run the ball, I think him and Roderick Daniels are kind of two guys that, usually if you have one guy like that, it's kind of special. And you try to use – we actually have 2, and that's rare, and that are just so versatile in both in 3 phases, the return game, catching it, and running it. And but no, I thought Richard played well, and like I said, people start to focus on that. I think you've seen the last few weeks our outside receivers making more plays and things like that.
Signing day tomorrow, bringing in some more guys from programs like DeSoto and Duncanville.
Yep.
How important has that relationship been for you with programs like that and bringing in guys that are competing for Texas high school football championships every year?
Well, it's huge. For us to get our program to this point and to continue to grow it to the level we want to, we have to be able to recruit all of Texas, and we have to be able to recruit all of Dallas. And, that's what we focused on the last several years, and I think you've seen that's helped our program grow. We're Dallas's team. We're not one area of Dallas's team. And those guys have seen the value of coming to SMU and getting an education and having a great career here in Dallas and what that can do for them personally. So tomorrow being signing day is a big deal. It's so weird, how much signing days change. What is this, 2024? I just think, just go back 8 years, 2016. Everything was, first of all, it was in January. or February, excuse me, and it was all about the build up to that, and ESPN was having a big all-day signing coverage, and you'd get up at 4 a.m. and you'd look at a fax machine, and like now here, what are we doing? Like my first year here, we're at a bowl game playing BYU on the Wednesday, the signing day, and I don't remember what we were doing last year. And then, tomorrow we're having Wednesday morning championship week practice, and there's no fax machine. It just comes in DocuSign. You know what I mean? So it's a huge day. It's just kind of weird how now there's 2 signing periods. There's kind of only one, but there's 2. And so our recruiting team has done a really good job. We are really excited about this class. It's our first class in the ACC, even though it really all started and mostly came together before we'd ever played a game in the ACC. But I think it's big. It was the first class, and now that coupled with our success, and people have now seen us playing the ACC. As a matter of fact, they're going to see us playing the championship game, so it's kind of harder to make it any more a reality than that. I think it'll only help the next class and the next class. But it's a big deal. We're going to be excited. Hopefully all those guys sign, and we can celebrate with them tomorrow after practice, and just add a little more juice to championship week.
The aftermath of the BYU game, I think you talked about it as being a pretty important moment for this season. Obviously, you made the quarterback change, but kind of looking back, what do you remember about the work the offensive line really did? Because it felt like as they locked in, that kind of opened things up.
Yeah. Well, Garen Justice is the best offensive line coach in America. I'm biased, but I wouldn't trade him for anybody. And I think the reason being is he has great relationships with those guys. They trust him, and he's willing to give everybody an opportunity. And, I think after that game, we had a very good idea of what the starting 5 needed to look like, but also knowing we're going to need the 6th, 7th, and 8th guy, and they're all going to play. And so I think just like we did with quarterback, it just being able to settle down, have continuity everywhere. Again, 3 games in, you kind of have an idea, okay, this is the direction this team needs to go. And let's start working towards that and know that each week we could get better and better. And I think the O-line was a big part of that, the consistency, continuity. We've stayed pretty healthy, but even when, Savion's banged up, Chamblee pops in. When Logan can't go, Ben Sparks pop in. Nate Anderson's hopped in there. So those top 8 guys have really done a nice job of kind of just week to week getting comfortable in their roles. And I think that's a big deal, especially in O-line. O-linemen don't get any credit. You've heard it said that they're the only position group that everyone else on the field needs them, and they don't get a lot of credit. But they've all done a good job of being a star in their role.
Any injuries you can update, Logan?
Logan is, like I said, we anticipated him playing last week. We just went through warm-ups, and Garen just said, man, if he just doesn't seem right, I'm going to try to play Ben and not play him, and we were able to do that. He seems better this week, so he should be available. And, of course, we've seen Ben's very available if we need him. Trying to think who else. I think there's a chance, Romelo's could be available this weekend if we need him. We hadn't had him for, about 8 weeks. We didn't lose anybody in the game last week. So other than your normal bumps and bruises, and now that we're about to play our 11th straight Power 4 game, everybody feels that way. I'm sure Clemson does too. So we're as healthy as we could want to be right now, I think, based on the way that the last half of the season's gone.
Can you speak to the job that Riz and that whole staff and this facility, all the things
Yeah.
that have helped get? I know there's been some
Yeah.
major injuries, knees,
Yeah.
things like that, but overall.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you asked that. No, I mean, Sean Griswold's amazing, especially if, you think I came in 3 years ago, first-time head coach, to get a strength coach who's got 25-plus years of experience. He's been awesome for me and our staff. But, what we wanted, the strength staff's got a bunch of jobs, right? And they touch everybody in your program, especially the players, the most year-round. You're right. Injuries are part of football, but we don't have a lot of soft tissue injuries. We don't pull a lot of hamstrings, a lot of groins, a lot of those things that can somewhat be prevented. I mean, it still happens some. So I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. But probably the biggest thing is we're bigger and stronger than we ever were. When I got back here 3 years ago, we didn't want to be a finesse program. We didn't want to be a program that doesn't get under heavy bars and lift heavy weights. Like, we're smart, but it's football. You got to build mass and muscle mass. He's done that while keeping them healthy. And then I'd say the biggest thing is we wanted to be a program that's about finishing. And it's easy to say we had to go accomplish it. Well, that gets accomplished in the spring, in the winter, the spring, and the summer with how our guys trained and the culture that him and his staff built. We're 11-1 in November the last 3 years, and I think a large part of that's because of Grizz and his team and how those guys buy into his program.
Rhett, when you took this job 3 years ago, I mean, obviously there was a vision. You've been here before, and you know there's a vision. And I know you've got a lot of other things on your mind, but have you had a moment to kind of step back and say how fast things have kind of gone and how quick the success has come?
I've not had a moment to like sit and reflect on it. I mean, every now and then when you ask a question like that or someone else does, I'm like, oh yeah, wow, this is okay. No, I think it's just we just go to work and we pour into the guys on our roster. Our staff does an excellent job of just making the main thing. And there's a lot of things that have to happen, a lot of departments that have to work really hard. But we focus from the inside out. We focus on our guys and the relationships and the culture and the stuff that's going to win games and going to sustain winning. So I haven't. I mean, it's been pretty cool for us to realize to some degree our potential fast, but we're going to live in the moment now and try to see how far this year can go. But then also, like, you're really just getting started because it's hard enough to create and achieve success, but then sustain it's a whole nother conversation, and that'll be our charge after this year. But right now we're trying to get as much out of this one as we can. But no, I really haven't, and I don't need to. I need to stay as focused in the moment as I can.
After clinching the spot in the ACC Championship game, I think you kind of talked about how maybe it can help players play more freely, at the end of the regular season. Is there any world where what the CFP ranking is tonight helps the guys play freely, or do you think it's too detached from what you guys are currently?
I don't think so, but just because whether we're ranked higher or the same or lower, like the only thing we can control is Saturday night. So yeah, I mean, I think most people, and I don't want to speak, I think most people assume we've earned the right to be in the top 12, and I think they're right. But at the end of the day, we don't know until Sunday, and if we don't win the game, we do allow that to be a possibility. So we're not going to go in worried about that. We're also not going to go in thinking that we've made it. We're going to play this game like we have every other game. And I was proud of our guys' maturity last week because a lot of times once you kind of make it in terms of we clinched it, it's really easy to have a letdown. And we were playing a really good Cal team that, like I said, until every game had been a one-score game. And it probably been the best defense we had played to that point. And so for them to come out and play the way they did and start fast and not have a letdown, I thought was a big deal. What's no different now, like, yes, we've made the championship game, but that wasn't our goal. I mean, it was a goal. We want to go compete and try to win it, and we know it's going to be hard. So I don't think our guys are in that mode. We definitely aren't relaxed. We don't think we haven't won anything yet. We haven't made anything yet, and so. But we're gonna respect Clemson as our next opponent, like we have the last 12, and see if that formula can keep working.
It may be a little more obvious how a season like this can help an athletic department, but kind of from the university as a whole, I've heard that application numbers are up.
Yep.
And maybe you just feel a different environment on campus to see kind of where things have gone over the last 4 decades for this program to come to where you are today. How much pride can you take in being a part of that?
Well, a lot of pride in being a part of that. I mean, SMU is a special place. So many people love this place and have poured into it, both time, resources, just, their passions. It was the vision for the university. I mean, the whole point of getting into the ACC wasn't just for our athletic department. It's because it enhances the profile of our entire university. That's in 2024, that's what college football, in some degree college basketball, does for your universities. It's the flagship branding organization, if you will. So when you are on those national stages like we're going to be on Saturday night, you couldn't ask for a better infomercial for your school. Think of how much branding's being projected for 3 or 4 hours, and you're not having to pay the crazy rates for it, right? And so, and then on top of it, when you win, people want to go to winners and be in environments like Ford Stadium was this year. And that helps. So, yeah, I don't know the exact numbers, whether applications are up 40, 50%, that's a big deal. This is arguably the biggest week at SMU athletics or for the school, I don't know, in decades, maybe ever. On Thursday, our volleyball team's a national seed hosting the first 2 rounds of the volleyball NCAA tournament. And then, You know, we've got soccer hosting an Elite Eight match for the chance to go to the Final Four this weekend. We've got basketball playing their first ACC game this weekend. We're playing in Charlotte. Like, it's a big deal, big time all around. And the athletic program and the university, they work together, and it's just been pretty cool to see how we've been able to help each other.
Kevin, kind of looking back, I mean, your first start that you made for SMU was last season in the championship game. Kind of to this point, how different has the preparation felt maybe this year than last year? That, you know, instead of coming in and being the first time you were out there first,
Yeah.
11 starts.
Honestly, no difference. Honestly, you know, just coming in the same, preparing the same, just keeping it the same as we did all year. Honestly, it's really no change to it. We've been doing it all year, so why change it? It's been working all year, so just prepare the same. Honestly.
How different are you as a quarterback though in that time?
A lot more confidence, for sure. You know, stepping in the championship game. Well, what was it? My first start. It was, you know, a crazy experience. So, just more confidence, you know, now. So, just being able to play freely and be more confidence.
What kind of sticks out from that game? What do you remember other than just the victory? What kind of from the start?
I mean, really just how we played as a team. You know, the team came together. You know, they had my back. It was my first start. You know, turned the ball over a couple of times, but my team had my back the whole time. You know, defense stepped up at key moments. And I think offense put the ball in at key moments. So, yeah, just yeah.
How does the experience of playing in postseason games at Tulane and then in Boston against Boston College kind of prepare you to play Clemson's home
Yeah.
advantage kind of thing?
Yeah, it's definitely preparing me a lot. You know, just try not to let the moment get too big. You know, just go out there and you know, just play how I'm normally playing. Just not try to do anything extra, and you know, just play to the play call. You know, just execute at a high level and just try not to let it get too big for me.
What do you see from Clemson on tape defensively?
Yeah, they're a very good team. You know, very physical. They have a very good D lineman, so that'll be interesting for us. Yeah, just a very good team that fly to the ball. You know, they're going to put a whole game together, and we got to be prepared for that.
You kind of mentioned how key the defense was in that Tulane game. You know, that was not always, you know, the defense is not always what SMU was known for.
Right.
How have you seen over your time here how they've developed and how the defense has become even more of a feature of what you guys are able to do?
Yeah, the defense has stepped up you know, the past couple of years. You know, stepped up big time this year and last year. So just being able to come into that and as a quarterback knowing that you got a good defense, you know, it helps out a lot. And just knowing they're going to have my back each and every drive and going to be able to step up no matter what goes on offense. So it's really you know, key for us.
John, I know there's still more to be accomplished, but what does it say about this program and the vast success you guys have had in the ACC?
Yeah, I mean, it shows that that we don't shy away from competition. Honestly, you know, coming in our first year in the ACC and being able to make a championship run and go undefeated, it just shows that we don't shy away from anything, and it shows the work we put in the summer as well.
Did anything surprise you about the opposing teams, or anything surprise you about yourselves this year?
I mean, nothing really surprised me for myself. I mean, this is what we was destined to do, so really nothing for myself. But from opposing teams, you know, it's different from the AAC. You know, coming in every single week, knowing you're going to have a big time game and going to have to play all 4 quarters, and that's probably the only thing that changed a little bit.
How much do you guys as players know about the death penalty and kind of the history of this program?
Yeah.
And how does that make what you're doing this season like even more significant?
Yeah, we definitely heard about it, you know, a couple times here and there, but it's just showing like that we're trying to make a run again, like they did back then. You know, there was a really good football team back then, and we're trying to bring SMU back to that moment again, and you know, be a good football team for the years to go.
And with signing day tomorrow, a lot of Dallas kids
Yes, ma'am.
probably going to be signing here. How important is that to you and the other local guys? And how do you feel like SMU has done in recruiting the city?
Yeah, it's very important. You know, from me being a Dallas kid, you know, and being recruited from SMU, it's definitely you know, it's you know, widening the variety. I mean, you know, being able to recruit kids in Dallas and things like that, and a lot of kids from Dallas being able to come to SMU and wanting to come to SMU is you know, hasn't been like that in the previous years. So just excited of what the staff is doing. You know, recruiting Dallas and you know, keeping kids on.
Any added import or significance for you guys when, you know, you're making your first trip to the ACC Championship game and you're playing
I mean, nothing really added, no pressure, nothing added for that. Just excited to get out there and play and show that what we're capable of and able to do on the field. That's really about it.
How's your relationship with the O-line developed over the year? I know they obviously was the quarterback situation getting figured out. They were still figuring out what
Mhm.
the best first five is, and then dealt with injuries throughout the year. People kind of slotted in, and it's been too
Yeah.
noticeable. How was that growth for you guys?
Yeah, the growth came a long way. The first couple games, having problems and things like that. And from now, like they stepped up big time. Being able to just connect with each other and connect with us, and being able to trust us to do what we do in the pocket and trust us. Just having a connection and being able to trust us is very big and goes a long way.
Do you get a moment at all to maybe look at what you guys are about to go
Mhm.
try and do,
Yeah.
and also just how much internal excitement do you have, and
Yeah.
how do you control that, push that in the right direction?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of excitement, for this team. We definitely see it, and we're trying to take it week by week, and wait till this all is over to celebrate and be excited for it. But yeah, definitely excited, but not trying to get too overexcited and go in a big game and not do our best. So yeah, we definitely see it, but trying to keep it low key.
A lot of Dallas guys on this team, you're one of them. How much is there pressure? Is there a sense of pride of going and doing it for Dallas? And
Mhm.
again, how do you manage that? Probably a lot of people just
Yeah.
say, man, excited for you, and just talking to you about that.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it's no pressure at all. It's a football game that we've been doing, all year. Preparing for football games. We're gonna do the same for the championship game, and not try to add too much pressure on it. But just go out there and try to play our best, and try to come out victorious for sure.
Can you talk about just how this team adjusted after the loss of RJ and Jake earlier this year? Obviously you guys, two big pieces you lost, but you kind of
Yeah, I think they adjusted very well. We had receivers step up and come in and do their thing. So like, I mean, I don't think it's like really been a drop off. I mean, people came in and performed at a high level. Like Matt Hibner stepped in for RJ and he's performing very well. Junior stepping in, playing both receiver and running back, and he's performing each and every week. So yeah, just the depth we have at receivers is very great. Understand?
you have two guys that can play running back and
Yeah,
receiver,
yeah,
and kick
facts.
return and all that.
Three guys actually. Honestly, we got Junior, Derek McFall, and Brashard. So those guys can do everything on the field. Honestly.
Coach Lashlee talked about, you guys were practicing in the cold today to
Mhm.
get ready for Charlotte.
Yeah.
How much of an impact does that actually have in a game?
I mean, with the weather, I think it's supposed to be 30 down there. I don't think that's really too cold. I mean, I think we should be able to just go in and throw the weather off and not worry about it too much and just perform how we've been performing all year.
Clemson defense really good at forcing turnovers.
Mhm.
Did you guys stress that at all in practice this week? And
Yeah.
what do you have to pay attention to?
Yeah, definitely doing a lot of ball security drills. We know they tackle the ball pretty well, so just keeping on that, just tucking the ball high and tight and just things like that, and performing and doing it every single day.
Can you walk us through what was last week's win like? How did it feel? Team clinching that perfect conference record.
That was good. I mean, every game's hard to win, so we knew going out there, taking it week by week. And we did our best to just not look ahead, focus on the present, be where our feet are, take it week by week, and it feels good, to have that, to be able to clinch that. But at the end of the day, we just want to take each game at a time and win. We're not looking too far ahead, not looking into the playoffs, none of that. It's just next game, focus on the game plan, focus on that week, do what we can to win that game. That's what matters.
So for this next game, can you talk about what does Clemson look like on tape? What do you expect?
They're a good team. They're a tough team. They got a good defense, some good talent up front too, some big guys. And they know how to win. They wouldn't be in the championship if they didn't know how to win. And obviously, Clemson's won before they know how to win. But I think we're up for a good challenge. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be exciting.
What do you kind of notice about the rest of your team? I mean, obviously, there's guys who were on the last team that won their conference championship. You're coming in with some, championship experience. How is that kind of meshing together, preparing for a week like this?
I think it's all about Obviously championship week is different. You can say, treat every week the same, but the air is different. The intention is different. Everyone's coming in with the level of intensity that, there's a lot on the line here, a lot at stake. People remember championships. Like, that's why you play. That's what you play all season for, is to win championships. So, just being able to do that without doing too much, find that balance between getting good work in versus, being reckless and overexerting yourself and doing things that are going to, keep you from winning. Because at the end of the day, it's all it is about winning.
What's the chemistry between you and Kevin like right now, especially after last game? You got to be feeling pretty good about how things are going.
Yeah, no, it's good. I felt good to get that one from Kevin. For me to him, it's just like a sign of trust, and hopefully that continues to build. But just that connection, on and off the field has been incredible. Like, Kevin's awesome. He's easy to hang out with. We see each other outside of the building a lot, and then inside the building, obviously, everyone's family. And Kevin's just another one of my brothers. So it's been really easy to transition to that, building that chemistry, honestly.
Yeah, in your experience, what kind of sets Kevin apart? What do you notice about him that makes him, been able to have the season?
I think it's just his ability to, stay relaxed and composed in any situation, really. I mean, when that guy is, loose and relaxed and feeling good, he's just firing on all cylinders. He makes incredible throws. He maintains himself when he's scrambling, when he's in the pocket. He makes good decisions. He's had struggles in the beginning of the season, but, he's really been able to hone in on, making good decisions in high-pressure moments and being able to keep that composure. And I think that feeds into the team and, vice versa. So when everyone's on the same page and everyone's, feeling good and relaxed and, doing what we're supposed to do, which we know we can do, it's just everyone's firing. And I think it kind of, him being able to do that as a quarterback spreads to the entire offense.
Having played in Ann Arbor, you've played in some pretty cold football games. So is there anything you're able to tell the team on how to prepare for what looks like it's going to be a cold one in Charlotte?
I mean, at least it's not raining. I don't think, once you get out there and you start playing, it's going to be like high 30s. It's going to feel like just another summer day. Once you're out in the field and playing, that's how I see it. I don't think it should change anything about what we do or how we play. If guys want to put sleeves on, who cares? Whatever. You don't have to be a tough guy. You don't want to, but as long as you're playing the way you play on the indoor, it's all that matters.
These are coming into this game as the top seed in the ACC, but obviously it's probably going to be a little bit more of a Clemson crowd. Do you guys feel like you're walking in as underdogs? Do you feel like you're just walking as another team?
I feel like we've been an underdog all year. A lot of people doubting us. People saying we haven't played real competition yet. Whatever. Yeah, that's the best place to be, is as an underdog. If that puts a chip on your shoulder, puts a chip on my shoulder, it makes me want to win even more. So, I think there's no better spot to be than an underdog position. So, even if that's not the way people see us, that's how I'm going to go walk in there. Like, we're an underdog. We're going, into Carolina. So, it'll be, a big Clemson crowd. Whatever. Feed off that energy. It's going to be good. It's exciting.
Kobe, what did it feel like, second straight season going undefeated in conference play? What does that mean to you?
It's really exciting, and just shows all the hard work we've put in. But at the end of the day, we know, the job's not finished. We knew what we were gonna do at the this season, and we know at the end of the season we're trying to go for another ring. So that's what we're here to do.
Compared to last year, is the feeling around championship week a little different now that you guys have done it? And that I know it's not the exact same team, but a lot of the same guys and people you brought in kind of had that championship experience as well.
Yeah, with that experience, it does help us a lot. But we try not to stress overdoing it, because that's where times get to frustrate. People get more frustrated and things get all blown out the water. So we kind of try to just be us and just keep everything the same thing, because the ingredients been working. It's no secret recipe. So just staying true to us, and that's what all we're doing.
What do you see out of Clemson's offense? Do you think one of the more balanced units you've probably seen this year?
Yeah, I'd say they're pretty balanced. You have a vet quarterback with Cade Klubnik and a hard running back, Phil Maffa. I played Phil in high school, so I know his running style and stuff like that. But very balanced offense. They want to run the ball. They want to throw the ball. So I think it'll be a good game.
Did you win that game in high school?
It was really a scrimmage, but we didn't win the scrimmage.
With their offensive line, they've got some highly thought of guys on that end. What does that mean for the defense's mindset going into that game, and how much does it help facing a group like Boston College a few weeks back to get a feel for that physicality?
It just means that we know in practice the intentionality has to be there, both physically and mentally. So we know this group doesn't really mess up a lot, but they do have times where they get tired and their attention to detail may lack. So we know that we have to take every advantage of that, especially on third downs. And then Boston College, I feel like they prepared us for that physicality, because they're very physical up front. So very similar to them, but Clemson's going to bring a little bit more on the edge and then the interior as well.
Last year, the championship game last year was a big game for the defense. I think a lot of, Tom was kind of big moment for SMU to show how far the defense has come over the years. Can you talk about the work that's come in since about making that kind of feature of the team, where you've had so many games this season where you're holding the opposing team
Yeah.
under double digits?
Yeah, and I felt like this whole season, like the defense had to step up in a lot of times, and times where we didn't, the offense has. So just kind of having that progression this whole year throughout all those 12 games, I feel like it's built us up to be ready for this moment. So we know last year the championship was a defensive game, starting with the fumble, and defense had to like kind of help us out along with offense. But this year we're expecting that same thing. So we know defense is going to have to stay true to themselves and just play with our hats on fire.
I know you don't necessarily get to work with Kevin every single day, but I mean, from that moment where he has that opening fumble to where he is now, where do you notice how different he is? And maybe if you're able to notice, is he any different in his prep for a championship game when he's 10 starts in versus making his first one?
I feel like Kevin, he's been the same person all around. He's been he's very composed, and even in that game when he fumbled, like he didn't seem like he was frustrated or nervous or the lights were too bright for him. He still stayed composed. He still played his game, and he realized like it's all 4 quarters you got to play through, not just one. So I feel like Kevin's maturity has grown as a player and as a man as well. But he's very composed, and I like the way he plays.